Hi, I'm Amber. Welcome to the Meet RX Success Story podcast. And today we have a special guest with us, John. Welcome, John.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So, John, tell us, what was your health, your life like prior to starting a meat-based diet? Were you having any issues, any kind of problems going on?
Yeah, so I've had a number of issues for probably as many years as I could remember. I've always been a big person as it relates to exercise and diet and nutrition most of my life. So I've been doing 5 to 7 day a week exercises, but you'd get results and then maybe you'd have a week or a month you take off and all of a sudden you gain it back and it looks like you didn't get anywhere. So that was always kind of a frustrating part that I've always had my whole life. I felt like you had to be so strict to get the exercise and try to eat so perfect. Yet I wasn't ever really happy getting where I wanted to be. But a lot of medical issues I had from various things like I had a condition called psoriasis rosea, which is a lesser form of eczema. So I would get maybe a dry spot on my skin, maybe a couple times a year, usually like areas where I don't get a lot of sunshine, maybe like my thigh or back part of my arm or something like that, where you always have clothes on. Then I'd go to a dermatologist, get some cream, and within a few days it goes away. When I got onto a strict carnivore diet, it's now been, I'm going on 21 months that I've been on strict carnivore. I have not had a spot the entire time, completely gone, never had it since. So that's one thing. I used to always get these dry bumps on like the back of my triceps. That was very common. I thought maybe it's dry skin or another form of that psoriasis rosea or dry skin or something like that. Don't have those anymore, ever. So I have not had that for 21 months. I've always had various aches and pains. I've had a couple procedures in my neck and shoulder surgeries, knee surgeries. So it was very common to take probably 400 to 800 milligrams of some type of pain medicine daily, just to alleviate some of the pain from various times. It could be soreness from workouts. It could be just, overuse of those areas. And now I just was always on some type of pain meds. Since being on carnivore, it wasn't more than maybe a couple of weeks at most, and haven't taken a pain medicine. I just don't take any anymore. I don't have it. I recover faster. I'm not nearly as sore, and I haven't had the need for any pain meds. So that's another thing. The inflammation, that's another part. It was very common depending on various foods I'd eat. I would get bloated, inflamed, even though I thought I was eating well. But it just, I would have reactions to various things. So I tried to play around with taking various things out of my diet. I'm not a medical doctor by any means, but I think it's very common. A lot of people say, oh, I don't eat dairy because dairy makes you inflamed. I think that's a whole bunch of BS. I have dairy every day and I don't get inflamed. So I'm living proof that that's not true, at least for me. If I'm on carnivore, I'm never bloated. I don't have any inflammation ever, which makes me feel just really good on a daily basis. But the other medical part that I had prior to, and I'm probably combining a couple of your questions here, but is my thyroid. So I've had an underactive thyroid for probably close to 15 years. And been told by my endocrinologist that it is not possible to ever get better. It's dead. So I've been on 2 different forms of thyroid medicine. I just take it once a day when I get up, and I've been fine. It doesn't really have that much of an effect on my life. But since I've gotten onto the carnivore diet, I have eliminated one of the medicines completely. Don't need it anymore. And the other one, I'm about 60% less than what I was taking before. And that's blindsided, so to speak, my endocrinologist, who is vegan, and does not think it's possible. I can elaborate on that if you'd like a little bit more, but that has been probably the biggest thing for me that I've realized from this that I had a problem with for many years. Medically, that is.
Very interesting. Yeah, elaborate just a little bit more about the whole doctor issue.
Yeah, so I've been seeing the same endocrinologist probably for the last 8 or 9 years. Nice gal. She's Indian. So the more research I did, there's a whole sequence of issues with health of people from that area of the world. But without getting into some of that, again, I was told that it's not possible to ever cure this. Yet for the last going on 20 months or 21 months now, it's gradually gotten better. She keeps saying that, you know, she thinks she'll be going to my funeral in the next 5 to 10 years because of the way I'm eating. I kind of jokingly say, and she's in fairly decent shape, but I'm like, well, let's put you in front of a group of people in your bathing suit and me in mine and see who thinks which one is healthier. She didn't really care to hear that, but you know, it's something that I've that medically, I mean, according to, I've had 4 physicals, about to get my 5th one next month since I've been doing this, full lipid panels, and my thyroid has improved each time.
That's amazing. I love hearing that because so many people have been told that exact same thing. And same with like diabetes. Oh, well, once you have it, you have it. You just have to suck it up, deal with it, take the medication, and just realize that it can't be cured or helped or, you know, improved or whatever. So I love that hearing these stories where that's not true necessarily. I mean, there's always exceptions, of course, but there's a lot of hope out there. So I love hearing that. So when you first started the carnivore way of eating, how did you implement that? Like, what did you eat? You mentioned that you continue to eat dairy, but what else? What's a typical day like for you?
Well, I'll admit when I first heard about this, I was, you know, a little bit skeptical, like I think probably most of us were when we first heard about this type of eating. I thought it didn't really make any sense to me, since your whole life you're taught, oh, this food pyramid, you got to have all this wheat and dairy and, or, you know, grains and vegetables and fruits and all this other blah blah blah. So to eliminate all that stuff, I wasn't quite sold on it. So when I first started, it was actually about 25 months ago, almost 26 months ago. But I wasn't 100% when I first started. I kind of went to like 70 to 75%, but I still wanted to eat some of my healthy snacks or you know, things that I thought that I liked. So for the first probably 4 or 5 months. And then the more that I ate more meat, the more my body didn't want those other things. It just wasn't satisfactory to me anymore. So as I got closer to the end of that year, going into the beginning of the January, if you will, I said, okay, I'm just going to go 100% because I'm almost kind of there anyway. And I really don't want to eat any of that other stuff. It just doesn't taste as good and I'm not as satisfied. So when I first started, I was a big person who loved fillets. Is my favorite steak. Ate a lot of chicken, ate a good amount of fish, you know, ate a good amount of chicken. And, you know, ate other different types of meats, you know, shaved turkey as a snack or stuff like this, like, and so on and so forth. the more I got on it and the longer I've gotten on it, the more I'll still eat those meats. But now I feel like I crave ribeyes more than fillets. I like the fat. And a lot, you know, I eat a lot of bacon. Love like an Applewood smoked bacon. I eat a lot of turkey bacon too, but I find myself where, like, even if I were to go on to maybe a couple days worth of leaner meats, like fillets or chicken breasts, I could only do it for maybe a couple days because my body's like, I want the fat. I want the fat. So now, you know, I think a typical day for me for food is I've been intermittent fasting for the last couple of months. I added that into this. So I don't eat breakfast anymore. I'll have 2 cups of black coffee in the morning. And then I'll usually eat lunch around 12, 1 o'clock normally. And that's usually my big meal. So like today I had 3 ribeyes from a company called Butcher Box. I had 4 scrambled eggs. I have that every day. I have 4 scrambled eggs every day unless I'm out of town or eating out and I can't get eggs. Always put cheese on them every day. And then sometimes, that's what I had today anyway. So, you know, there's times where I'll have maybe 2, 3 hamburgers, some bacon, some Italian sausage, you know, still eat fillets or chicken as well. And then at dinner, it's usually a lighter meal. I'm not as hungry because I ate so much at lunch. So it'll be maybe, you know, 1 piece of grilled chicken or 1 hamburger. Maybe sometimes I'll just eat like 6, 7 pieces of bacon. And that's it. Like I'm just, you know, usually not that hungry at night. So I've also realized, as much as like I still enjoy the taste of fish, to me, if I ate a bite of fish, it's good, but my body's like, this is good, but where's the meat? You know, so I really don't even eat much fish anymore because my body says that's good, but this is more nutritious. So I'm craving the ribeyes, the fillets, hamburgers, bacon, you know, sausage, anything meat related, red meat, really. My body says that's more nutritious. I want that.
I totally understand, and that is extremely common. And that's the way I am too. It's the red meat. Not that I don't occasionally eat other meat, but you'd be surprised how many people have said that they kind of eventually get to the point where they're wanting red meat mostly.
Yep.
So that's very common. Okay, so the last question, and you pretty much answered this already, but if you could name one thing that just really blew you away, that shocked you, that you weren't expecting as far as improvements go, or a change, whatever you want to say, what is the one thing that just really surprised you about the whole carnivore way of eating?
I would say there's 2 things, and I don't know which one's more important. Maybe I could lean towards one. So I would say maybe a close second is the improvement of the thyroid, which I was told was medically not possible. But I would put probably number 1 is just physically, I've never looked as good as I've ever looked now in my life. The whole point that I kind of started the conversation with you of how I've always been an exercise freak and doing like all sorts of at-home workouts or going to the gym, and you name any of those online videos that you could buy, I've done them. And it had good results. You know, nothing bad to those things, but never physically got to where I was like, man, look at that guy. Why can't I look like that? Why can't I have the stomach like this person, or the shoulders like that person, or the definition of, you know, it's like, it's just a struggle. Being on this, it's easy. Like I've never been more toned and had more muscle in my entire life. And you hear a lot of people debate like how much is diet, how much is exercise. My whole life, I always kind of thought it was closer to 50-50. from importance. I can tell you right now, I think 90 to 95% diet is diet. I don't care what you do for exercise. Like, the diet is huge. If you are on a carnivore diet, you will get the results physically that you've dreamed about. And that's what I've noticed the most that has struck me is how much easier it is to get to what you want to look like when you look at yourself in the mirror.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay, so you mentioned that you did every kind of video and program out there. I have to ask you one thing. Did you do P90X?
For about 3 or 4 years. I did the
Did you get
P90X 1, 2, and 3, the whole thing.
So did you get the bucket, my little friend? That was my favorite part of that.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, I had to ask that.
I did the insanity. I think there's a couple different insanities. I did the body beast workouts, which I loved. Actually, I've been doing that for the last 3 or 4 years, up until, as I've been following Dr. ShawnBaker more, I got to be in touch with another carnivore, Dr. John Jackish, and started actually implementing his exercise routine. But yeah, I did all those online videos, and they work great, but never had the results until I actually got on to eating meat.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast and talking about your success with the meat-based diet. I think it's so important for people to hear these stories and know that there is hope, even when you've been told that there is no hope. So you're living proof. So again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Bye, John.
Bye.